Therapy Army, where are we? Big up all the Therapy Army, how are we? Ronnie wants out. I've got the wonderful Alice, first time ever appearing on the Therapy Army. I know we have an audience that crossover. A lot of people in the comments are bigging up Alice in the comments. So I'm glad she's here. And then we've got our Rachel, who's not been on here for a while because she's been concentrating on her law degree. But Alice, welcome to the channel. How are you? How was your day going so far?
Hello, thanks for having me on the channel. Pleasure to be here. My day's going quite well, to be fair. You know, Man United doing Man United things, but, you know, Ronaldo might be leaving. We'll talk about that later, but good to be on here. How are you?
You know what? I'm quite excited, you know. Man United signed a player that I really like. That I spent about 4 games watching the Europa Conference League because I thought that we were going to be in it. And I watched finals from the quarterfinal, semi-final, and then the final. And I've been so impressed with him. But Rachel, how are you, sis? How's your day? And welcome back to the Therapy Army.
I know it's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, no, I'm good though. I'm good. Just finishing uni. It's over soon, so just getting on with things really. I'm glad you guys are all okay though.
That's good. That's good. I'm so happy to have you both on here on the Therapy channel. I've admired both your work for a long time. Obviously, Rachel, known really well. Alice, just got to know her on the socials. So I'm happy. I'm genuinely happy, Therapy Army. I thought, let's do a chat. Let's do a deep dive. But I think it's only one place to start. Duncan Castles, man. He's been saying zip all summer. All summer I've been waiting for him to say. He's usually involved in the transfers. He said nothing and then he drops the bombshell. And then Einstein likes his tweet. Twitter's going crazy. Next minute Einstein comes out and says, yes, Cristiano Ronaldo has informed Man United. And I put on the thing, just on Twitter, just now for the show, I said, does Cristiano Ronaldo want out or does he want power? Better twist. So I'll go to Alice first. Alice, your initial thoughts on the breaking news that Ronaldo is saying arrivederci. He wants to say ciao bella. He wants to say goodbye in so many different languages.
I mean, my first thought is, can you blame him for wanting to come? He's Ronaldo. He shouldn't be in the Europa League. My second thought is, if he wants to leave, you've got to let him leave if he wants to leave. But the question is, our only striker left is Martial. You don't know what you're going to get with Martial. Martial finds form, brilliant. If he doesn't find form, which isn't in the last 2 years, not great. Can I trust United to find a striker last minute, especially with the striker market being stupidly overpriced? No. Don't really want Ronaldo to go. I think it's out of our hands. If he goes, he goes. But I'm hoping it's a trick, because him and his agent are quite good at doing tricks to maybe scare United into being ambitious this transfer market. That's what I'm hoping it is, but we'll have to wait and see.
Your initial reaction to the last hour or so, the breaking news that Ronaldo wants out. And Alice hit on a point there. Does he want Man United? Does he want world beaters? Does he take in the transfer of Manchester United? Is he mainly about the captaincy, him being given the captain? Or is it just pure and simple? He's basically saying, I want out. Because in the wording, it says, if any bids come in for him. That's quite strange. When a player says, I want to leave, it's I want to leave, right? So when I read, I'm trying to read between the lines here, and I see that if a club bids from me, what do you think to that? What do you think of that type of language, the way that it's being framed? And do you think it's Ronaldo just wanting to play in a Champions League?
Well, when we look at what happened last summer, he was offered around Europe and no one wanted him. So that's where the if a bid comes in for me comes in, right? We don't know how many teams actually want him, and we don't know who can afford his wages. So if I'm looking at the teams that could probably pay for his wages, I'm looking at Chelsea and PSG, because I don't think Bayern Munich are going to break their wage structure. They didn't do it for Toni Kroos, so I don't know if they would do it for Ronaldo, who's just going to be there for a season or two, right? So would we allow him to go to Chelsea? Like, is it on a free? Because is it a 1 or 2 season thing? Like, what? I don't even know how it's structured with him. at United, but he was more likely to go to a club that can afford his wages, and there's only a couple of them left. And whether they want him or not is a whole different thing. I don't think there are many clubs that would want him at the moment, to be honest with you, on those wages.
No,
So,
100%.
yeah.
100%. We talk about it, innit? It's PSG who can afford him. Chelsea, if this new owner wants to make it out like
He asked about it, didn't he?
Yeah.
There was a conversation with his agent. So
yeah,
it's you know, who knows?
Yeah,
He might end up
he
at
met his
Chelsea.
agent, Jorge Mendes.
yeah.
Mm.
Welcome, Tom. Tom, welcome to
Yep.
the stream.
Evening,
How's your day going? How are you?
Yeah, not bad. How's everyone doing?
Everyone's doing well.
Good.
Everybody's doing well. Give us your initial reactions to Ronnie wanting out, or is this Ronnie that wanting more power?
Well, it's funny how he said about how the quote was structured around if bids come in, because he's not exactly going all out there to say, "Oh, I want to leave," because if he doesn't get anywhere, at least he's got Man United's shield to fall back on, where he's on 500 grand a week. So if you don't get a move to a club that's going to be playing the Champions League football and can afford your wages, yeah, albeit you might be playing Champions League football at Manchester United, but you're still going to get paid well, and that's what we've done over the years. We don't have a wage structure. Let's be honest. I've not seen a wage structure for years at this football club. We break the bank for any player that sells shirts and bigs up the merchandising and sponsorship deals for the football club. That's all we do when we buy super players. And just when you said about with the captaincy and stuff, to be honest with you, I think he was shocked that he wasn't probably given it from last summer, because there was question marks about Harry Maguire's ability for the leadership role. And then you bring in a proven winner in Ronaldo, who's won it all. You bring in probably one of his best mates from when he was at Real Madrid in Varane, who's won it all. You bring in all these players that have won things, and what's Harry Maguire's claim to fame? What, a couple of relegations? Come on, behave. He's won more Champions Leagues than Harry Maguire's relegation. Sheffield United, Hull, Leicester. He weren't a captain at them clubs. Cristiano Ronaldo, wherever he's been a leader. He led his own country to a European trophy. Yeah. That's got to say something about leadership qualities and capabilities. If you can do that for a nation, let alone a football club. But with the quotes and stuff, I probably agree with what Alison and Rachel said about it, where I'd probably see Chelsea, PSG. Financially, I think they're the only ones in Europe that can afford to pay him those wages. But if he was looking at breaking his structure, I'd put America on the map, to be honest. MLS, if he wants to go there. Live a bit of a life in America for the last couple of years. But
I think he said he wants to play competitive and to try to win more trophies.
He wants the Champions League. Can I just make a point about the leadership thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think while I understand your points, what I would say is that it has been said that the dressing room is split. So if it's split, then Maguire's got more support than we think, and Ronaldo's got less support than we think as well. And let's be honest, there's been a lot of petulance from Ronaldo and other players. Don't get me wrong, it's not just him, but there has been petulance that's shown from him. Like what he said about taking off one of the kids instead of him, the way sometimes he behaves on the pitch. He's not leading; he's actually making things worse at times. I think the Ronaldo as a leader thing is it's a bit overstated, in my opinion. I think he does bring a lot. He's very inspiring with what he's achieved. Don't get me wrong; like we can't deny what he's achieved and what he's done in the game. But I think the leadership thing isn't as cut and dry as Ronaldo's one thing, so he should be captain, and Maguire's won nothing, so he shouldn't be. I think the fact that the dressing room is split sort of supports that. You know, it's not as cut and dry as that, in my opinion.
No, I completely understand. The only reason why I was making the point about it was especially with the European acumen as well, being able to lead your country in those circumstances. And we know how good that French team was and how it should have probably gone and won the Euros in 2016, and it didn't. And the Portuguese team completely blew it out of the water in the final with a wonder goal out of nothing. And then it completely took the whole, I guess, exclamation about Cristiano Ronaldo. And yeah, he doesn't have a captaincy, a legal captaincy anywhere else I don't know of at a club level. But at international level, I don't see Harry Maguire's leadership acumen when he doesn't have the captaincy. I think he plays better, to be honest, in Harry Maguire. When he came to the football club in the first 6 months, before he was given the captaincy when Ashley Young left, I didn't think he was that bad, in all fairness, because I thought he was focused on his own game and, he was being a bit more professional about it. But as soon as they've chucked the arm at him, I just think the pressure's got to him in a way, and the ambitions and the expectations to go on and win things as a team which we know this team had been built for 3 years and has won nothing in the end of it all. And it's the end of a project, and now it's the start of another one. But with the captaincy, I'm sure with Ten Hag, if he's coming and he's made all these structural changes about like you've got to be in at 9 a.m. and stuff, there's no slacking in training, 2-hour fitness drills, then straight onto the football pitches and stuff, putting in his own regime, I'm sure he's going to make his own mind up about who he wants to be as captain or not. And if the dressing room, they've got to take it. If he says he wants it to be somebody none of us even expects, we've got to back the decision, really. Even if it's not Maguire, Ronaldo, he might buy in Frank de Jong and might want to make him captain. We don't know. Because this dressing room cannot be trusted with the players from previous managers. They've thrown them under the bus.
No, 100%. Tom.
I don't expect him to choose any of these players right now to be the captain, if I'm being all fairness. And off the back of last season, can we honestly say who deserved it?
No one.
I can't think of anybody.
Not really. But Alex, we'll come to that question now. Do you think it's a question of captaincy? And do you understand the thing? Because to me, I'm maybe a bit older than you all.
Maybe.
Get your passport out.
And somebody said 17th century old. That's what I am. Somebody said that to me in the space the other day. JK. But anyway,
Was that Z?
yeah. So basically, like there are throughout football that I watch, right? There's been different types of leaderships. There are leaderships by example, right? By how they are. There are leadership by example, how they carry themselves. So Ronaldo will 100% get a 10 out of 10 for the way professionalism in terms of how his body, his diet, this hunger to be the best, to score goals, to still be playing 38 at the age of 38 is incredible. Then there are leaders of people who inspire people, who get stuff out of people, who think about the group first more than they think about themselves. There's that type of leadership. So where do you think he ranks in terms of Ronaldo? And what do you think about this? Do you think it's overstated, this leadership tag that's given to him? Because we did see Ronaldo being petulant. Ranić had to spend 15 minutes with him off the pitch to explain to him why he was substituted, in front of the world's cameras. Fergie used to have to do it. He would usually, when Fergie subbed him those days, he would just walk around, get the coat and throw it on the floor and kick the water and just be people try to calm him down and say, get off me. That's what he was. I think Zidane was the only manager that I noticed in a certain time where he was saying to him, I'm going to keep you fresh for the Champions League games. You don't have to play many games in the La Liga with that team. So this argument, where does it lie, Alex?
It's an interesting one because the way I do see it is, first of all, I don't think Maguire should be captain. I think because of how poor he was last season, to keep him as captain sets quite a low standard for captaincy, and I don't think it sends a good message of Ten Hag. But the question is, who in that Man United squad is a captain? There's no one there that's a Roy Keane. There's no one there that's an outstanding character. And then you look at players that could be captain, but are they good enough? Will they survive under Ten Hag? And you go, the way I look at it is, if Ronaldo stays, I would give him captaincy next season because he's a leader, he's a born winner. He was one of our better performers last season, so I think he deserves it off merit. He's Ronaldo. But also, I think Ronaldo, if he does stay, he'll only be here for one more season. So it would be a short-term captaincy, which would give Ten Hag a year to learn his squad. Ten Hag might give it to Varane after a year, Frankie de Jong. He might all of a sudden like Lindelof, or if we sign Martinez, he could be the leader. Or there's a player that just really excels under Ten Hag that we're not even thinking of. Maybe Bruno finds his form and stops doing hero balls and becomes a disciplined player. For me, I think while Ronaldo isn't the perfect captain, there's no one at United that is captain material that stands out right now as a captain. And I think it just makes sense if Ronaldo is here for another year, give it to him for a year and then think of who's the long-term captain.
I think 100% I agree with you there because I think there's been this power struggle. I think you give it to the GOAT because he's one of the greatest players of all time. He's only going to be here for one season. So it's a short thing. Unless the Glazers always have that third year option, don't they? We can't forget Glazonomics, third year option business. But I agree with you. I think Harry Maguire, for me personally, has never been a captain, right? He's never a captain material. Harry Maguire is somebody who was bought for 80 million, who was bought by Man United. He's somebody who's punching way above his weight. I said it at the time. This is not revisionist history. I kept saying it at the time. Before we bought him, I kept saying, this guy turns like a double-decker bus. We can't have this guy. This guy's not an 80 million pound. He's not the savior of Man United. He's not got the magic wand. I called it, and not that I'm glad that I wish him to disprove me. I wish that he put me in my place, and I'm happy to print all the stuff that I said about him, and I'm happy to eat it live on camera, print it out on paper and eat it. But Rachel, coming to you, I think if Ronaldo's going to stay, I genuinely think we have to give him, because we have to give him the captaincy. And it's not my words, by the way, that Harry Maguire's never been a captain. El Mehmedi, I don't know if any of you remember El Mehmedi, was the captain of Hull, Egyptian footballer, Egyptian international, played right back. Played the right back for Hull for a long time. Yeah, he basically came out and said Harry Maguire is a good person, he's a good player, but he's not a captain. The idea that he's captain of Man United, he's like, wow, he never saw that coming. So that's his captain, former captain, speaking about Harry Maguire. But I think bringing it back to Ronaldo, to me, I remember putting it out and people coming at me on Twitter, because I was like, we need 2 midfielders. We don't need Cristiano Ronaldo. Then the Glazers and the bankers told us, we haven't got any money. We need to sell before we can buy any other midfielders. Then within 48 hours, Ronaldo is signed for 24 million, because Jorge Mendes played us and blagged and said, oh, he was definitely on his way to City. That is what Mendes does. Like Jorge Mendes, he basically runs Wolverhampton. If you want to know anything about Wolverhampton, right? He's there like his own director. He's not just an agent, super agent. So he played us, and the Glazers got giddy, and we saw what happened to the stock price, what happened to the share. It went up by 100-something times. So this is where the battle is. For me, the way that is framed, it looks like there's a way of him staying. So what do now? Do the clubs stand firm, or do the clubs that come to Ronaldo getting the captaincy and more power to the football club, where he's basically involved? He's advising the club who to buy, basically. Because the way it's worded, if a club comes in for me, he doesn't say, I want to go.
He should go, as far as I'm concerned. Like, you cannot hold a club to ransom. I don't care who you are. No player is bigger than the club. No one. And if he's going to hold the club to ransom and threaten to leave and do all these shenanigans, if that's what it's about, just so he can be the captain and have this extra bit of power in the club, then I don't want him. Oh, I don't want him here anyway, to be fair. But I wouldn't accept that from any player. Not one. No player in history of football would not accept that from, because the club is more important. And to be honest with you, I think it was Jarvis who said it, that Ronaldo's not on board with Ten Hag's Dutch revolution at United. I don't see him enjoying his role under Ten Hag. I don't see him accepting that maybe there's some games that he shouldn't be playing. He won't accept that. He will not want to be on the bench. He won't be rested. There will be some games where we need something different in the middle, and Ten Hag will want to bench him, and then he'll be like, no, I'm not being benched. And then there's a conflict there. I think, look, he wants to win things. He's in the end of his career. But go to a club that's going to win things, because we're not guaranteed to win anything here.
True.
And we weren't guaranteed last season. But again, it comes back to the point that it's because no one else wanted him last summer. And that's why he came, right? But this summer, maybe someone comes in for him. Maybe there's a chance for him to go and win things. He should just go, in my opinion.
On that one, I 100% agree. You know, for me, a serial winner comes to a club that's been bottling it for a decade. Like that idea, Ronaldo CV, Ronaldo winning trophies everywhere. Then he wants to come to a club that is geared to just finish in the top 4. And even when he's geared to finish in the top 4, that miss out on the top 4. So this is the type of club, and I didn't understand it. I just couldn't understand it. I was like, okay, things have got so bad at Juventus, right? Is he just like, okay, get me back? This idea of this romanticism and him wanting to come back, and no, if you read and understand the story of Ronaldo at times was using Man United. I mean, Fergie, one of the reasons apparently Fergie quit because the Glazers promised to get Ronaldo back within 2 years. And I don't know if you remember 2011, 2010, there was huge rumors about Ronaldo coming back. Around
every season there were rumors about Ronaldo coming back.
That's what I'm saying to you, but especially in those times, like there was huge rumors. And Gareth Bale as well, like Gareth Bale and Ronaldo both to come back. But at the end of the day, listen, to me, I was screaming out for 2 midfield players.
Tell me about it, Nuruddin. We were crying together.
We were all crying for 2 midfielders and a balanced team And then we got Ronaldo, and then we were like, oh yeah, it was good to be there. It was good to see the atmosphere. It was good to see Zoo, because we never saw Zoo, because he never bought Zoo with him. You know what I mean? Zoo was she was at Madrid, she was at Juventus, but to experience Zoo in the stadium where the whole of Stretford and the whole of the atmosphere, him going Zoo, that has been brilliant, and I'm grateful for what he did in the Champions League group stages, how he made sure that we didn't end up in the Europa League yet again. I'm grateful of those European nights at Old Trafford when I was there, sweating, biting every nail, and Ronaldo's coming to the rescue. So I'm grateful to him for that. But it was never a match. It was never a match, and I don't know why, but because we're dumb enough to pay, the Glazers get what they want, shirt sales, and Ronaldo gets what he wants, even though, apparently, he took a bit of a pay cut to be paid just a little $500,000 a week. I mean, come on, guys. What can he do?
Well, that's why Juventus wanted to get rid of him. He was crippling their entire football club with his wages. That was exactly the reason why, wasn't it? They needed him to leave.
Correct, yeah.
So. But Tom, we'll move on, because I really want to celebrate. I'm not asking about players who want to leave. I want to celebrate players who are here, right? So just a last question. Well, how do you see this dragging on? And do you think there's a bit of a power play? Do you think we should let him go?
Personally, any football player who, even if you're coming out with quotes or anything, or you come out publicly like some players do with interviews and saying that they're not settled at a football club, if you want to go at the end of the day. Nobody's going to hold your hand and pull you back into the firing line. You took a risk last year in joining us, where, like Rachel and Alice said, where we weren't guaranteed to win things last season, which we weren't. All the hype around last season was, we're going to push, we're going to challenge, we're going to be up there with City, Liverpool. We ended up further away than we have ever been in a recent season since we last won the trophy. And if that shows you how far the standards have fallen, and Ronaldo, even when he came back and said about the dressing room and the training ground, what has changed over a decade ago? The swimming pool's the same. The tiles are falling off of the rehabilitation centre in Carrington. The pictures are the same. There's no new floodlights. I kept banging on about that, did I not, Nurdin? About they're installing £5 million worth of floodlights at the training ground. They've not even got a developer to do the project yet. And Ronaldo, he come back to all of this and he's looking at it thinking, I'm a multi-millionaire and I'm working under these conditions. It's crazy. It's amateurish. It really is amateurish.
It is, honestly, Tom, it is. So for you can go. Alice, last word on Ronaldo. Leave, stay or leave?
If he doesn't want to be here, you have to let him go, because you can't hold a player against their terms. They don't want to be here, they shouldn't be here. Like, you don't want a player here that doesn't want to be here. Problem is, I don't trust Man United to replace him. I trust Man United to go, oh, we're going to give Rashford a season at striker. And that's why I don't want him to go. But I think if he doesn't want to be here, let him go.
There's a little old striker called Scamacca.
Oh, I knew this was going to be brought up.
We can get him for about 40 million, and he is a baller.
That's who I want to replace him.
Scamacca or Lisandro Martinez are the only two options, aren't they?
6'5" for me. Absolute holds up the ball. He's a footballer. He's not just an out-and-out striker, but to me, he's a footballer. He's one of those strikers that's a footballer that can play ball, can play on the right, can play on the left, can play through the middle. So, but anyway, let me just read out. I'm gonna absolutely butcher this name. Somebody help me.
Vizwadji. That's my
Vizwadija?
Vizwadija. That's a better one.
Vizwadjita. Big up to yourself. Thank you for the super chat. Ronaldo is the leader of few wannabe winners. Maguire, the leader of mediocre players who are happy to be paid better than the champions across town. Yeah, 100. Listen, you're not going to get any arguments in the binary in that. Ronaldo is the winner. Ronaldo is something exceptional. He'll go down one of the greats of all time. That is being said at this moment in time. The way he is, his age, how he is, because a lot of people watch games and they watch them in basically the way the league title is, like the way that on television, the way like the camera falls the ball, but you don't see what happens when the camera's not there. You don't see it. You don't see the other bits. And at times last season he was so fatigued, but he wanted to play every game and he's falling over when nobody's near him. But listen, Alice had to go, so we're going to put Alice to celebrate Tyrell Malacia. Welcome to Manchester United, Alice. A reaction to that? I'm sure you did the video, obviously, but what do you think of? How excited are you?
I'm happy. It's 15 million, low risk signing. Can't really go wrong. 22. Best left back in the Eredivisie last year, according to those that watched the Eredivisie. I won't lie, I've seen him play twice, one of which was the Conference League final. He was rapid, he looked good. Ten Hag's obviously very impressed by him. From people I've spoken to, quite defensively disciplined, rapid, as I said, but also I know he covered the 6th most distance in the Eredivisie last season, so we can actually run, because I feel like most of our players forgot how to run last season. So I'm happy with it. I like the guy. He's young. I trust Ten Hag as a coach. Ten Hag's got evidence that he can find potential in players and make them get better. So very happy with it.
Boom. Alice, thank you so much for jumping on. Really appreciate it. In there, not that much notice, because I just only decided a couple of hours ago to do this video. I'm like, I'm ADHD brain. That's how it is. But definitely, I'm going to return the favor. So let me know when you want me on the channel. More breaking news. Obviously, this Ronaldo story now is going to dominate. The headline's going to dominate all Man United news. And we didn't want it to be like that. But maybe it's a good thing because it takes the shine off. The club can get on in the background and sign the players who want to be here. But thank you so much. So people, please, Therapy Army, make sure you check out Alice Talks Football, I think, across all social media, if I'm right, yeah?
Yeah.
Alice Talks Football across all social. She's got a big platform, brilliant content maker, a fellow United fan, and everybody who's a United fan is part of the Therapy Army, innit? So, love, light. Thank you so much, Alice. Anything you want to shout out? Anything coming up or anything?
Just wanted to say thank you for having me on. I'll definitely get you on my channel soon. Big up, everybody, and nice to see you.
Peace.
Okay.
There you go. Right, let's get back to some of these quotes. We'll go quickly. Big up Khalid Ramadan Lassie, and he's got one of these quotes, so let's get into this, because we'll definitely find out. Let me just get the super chat first. Big up Say Miassi. Ronaldo come to Arsenal. He can help with the Europa League and really with Arsenal. I can't even finish it. I knew. I was waiting for Say Miassi. Ronaldo, come to Arsenal. You can help win the Europa League and be reborn with the Arsenal. Go out with a bang. Say Miassi, I think you are typing this out as you're dreaming. Like literally in dream world.
He's getting hijacked. That's what it is, Nuruddin. He's getting hijacked.
You should be napping by this time. It's a bit hot. I don't know how hot it is in London, but it looks a bit more brighter than it is in Manchester. I think you have time today, and that's why you are typing this out, because this level saying the it's not happening. Rafinha hijacked. Martinez will be hijacked. What are you now? Who are you going for? The guy who plays for the what? Plays for the Wally pub. Is that who you're getting? I bet somebody then comes in and hijacks that as well. What have you got to say for yourself, eh? No Rafinha, no Martinez. You've only signed 2 players so far. And you were telling me we're going to bang, we're going to do this. Where are you? Where's this Arsenal? Where's this rebuild? Where's this Arteta revolution? It looks like the revolution started, the fire burn, and then it died. But there we go. He comes back in. All you have is Russian. Oh God! Do you not think we have Bruno? We have Martial still. We have Ahmed. We have Sancho. You know what I mean?
Elanga.
Frankie De Jong's coming in. He's going to decimate everyone.
You know what I mean? We've got all these people, man. What are you on about?
The Dutch duo in midfield, our Donny and our Frankie.
Exactly. Soon to come. So anyway, Zian, you can try, but we've got ballers, mate. Remember that. And with that one there, this one, Ronaldo, that's a pipe dream. I don't know what he's smoking.
He's got more chance of going to Spurs, mate.
Rachel! I don't think his heart can take that, Rachel. I
mean, they're in the CL, they know.
I think Rachel just went to say me. I say, boof, boof, boof. Like it's the she's just hitting with a combination there. Jab, uppercut right into the chair. Say Miassi now cannot type anymore. He can't type anymore. But anyway, we'll go to it here. Let's go to the view. First of all, Rachel, your initial reaction on YouTube. I don't know if you've done another channel, but on Malacia.
So I don't actually know a lot about him. All I know is the hype that you've given him in Spaces and a couple of other people. So, you know.
DDFC.
Yeah, do you know what the thing is? Like a lot of people, even before we were even linked with him, said a lot of good things about this kid. So I'm looking forward to see how he develops. I'm not expecting him to be like this world beater in the next season or anything, but I like the fact that we've got someone in who's different to what we have. I heard he's very, he's high intensity. He's aggressive, with and without the ball. So I think that's something we don't have at the moment. Gives good competition, and we all know Luke Shaw always needs a kick up the arse. Doesn't look like he's going to be leaving. It looks like Tellers is more likely to be leaving of the two. So I think if you've got Malacia pushing Luke Shaw, having good games himself, and then you've got Luke Shaw stepping up his game, then that's only a positive on the left side. So I'm very happy about it.
Tom, your first reaction to Tyrell Malacia to Man United. Talk to me. We've talked about him on this channel, me and you.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we had an agreement, did we not? We're not getting giddy or anything. Come on, we gas up these players, don't we?
No.
It's only the Dutch league. I got told, wasn't it?
But
It's only a Feyenoord wonder kid. That's all it is.
But I'm getting giddy with him. I'm getting giddy with him because.
But listen. We don't do enough of these signings, do we? Though, let's be honest. These smart little picky pocket budget signings, where you go 15, 20 million pounds, low risk signing for high risk reward. Really, at the end of the day. And we saw, like Rachel said about with Tellez, when he came into the football club, and how it gave Luke Shaw the kick up the arse to think, listen, there's another player here who can cross from Portugal. I've not had the bestest of seasons, and then he had that brilliant season. With Tyrell Malacia, I think it's an even harder situation for Luke Shaw, in the fact of there's a Dutch connection. Ten Hag wanted this player at Ajax, and the third factor is the kid's got every attribute that he can use in the Premier League. He's got the fieriness, he's got the side to it, he's got the defensive attributes there. Running back, making the sliding tackles that you need. And the one thing that we say about Man United and with our fullbacks, we've had some of the greatest fullbacks in English football bombing up and down that wing. The Irwins of this world, the Evras. So many brilliant fullbacks have played for this football club, and they can go both ways, not just one or the other. And we don't have that at our football club. So with Tyrell Malacia coming in, brilliant young player, I think at the perfect age of development as well. So it's not like you have to rush him into the squad or anything like that. Let him adapt to the surroundings and the team and the squad itself, and then we'll go from there with the kid. But bringing him in, like I say, it's a player that Ten Hag's going to trust. He clearly is looking at this squad and thinking, can I trust some of these? Because they've thrown there's some of these players who are here 3-4 managers deep now. Four managers ago, they got signed, and they're still here. And every single manager has fallen before me. Bringing in such as some of these players where Ten Hag's been saying about he wants to bring in Dutch players or only players that can play his certain system, like the Martinezes, the De Jongs, the Malacias, who will be familiar because of Dutch football. By doing that, these are players that you can trust, first and foremost. And these are players that will want to play under him and have the ambition to play for a big football club. Because Malacia, listen, Leon was on the table, mate. The guy, as soon as Man United went there and hijacked that deal, Liam was not even an option anymore. As soon as he hears Man United, bang, goodbye, I'm putting the phone down. And it was completely turned around. And like we said, well, it's been reported massively anyway about the Frank de Jong deal. As soon as that's pretty much set in motion and agreed, we're not going to mess about with other targets. We're going straight in there. We're not dipping his toe in the water. We're going all the way in. And we're going full the way through. Malacia is just a proven pudding in that signing. Martinez will probably follow because we're preparing bids and stuff for him. We're actually acting like a football club, really, are we not? And listen, Merto Madness, we're not going to gas it up or anything for what it is, but we are starting to see the signs of something potentially different. And get the players that we get. All I want at this football club is players that we can trust and we can develop. That's all I want, and go on a journey, because we're not winning anything in the short term. But we need to build to win something.
There you go. Big up. Rachel, I actually like, he's got intensity, tenacity, energy. I think if he goes in health-wise, settles into the Premier League, the pace of it, I don't think Luke Shaw is getting back in the team. I rate him that highly, genuinely. He's technically gifted. He can do he's doing 20 yards outside of the boot passes. He's a left-sided guy that can switch the play to the right winger. At times, he's too eager positionally. He can get better, but he's only 22. So that can be improved. His height, He's got a decent leap, but that's the heading is for me about timing. It's about timing, and it's about positioning. I think positioning you can learn.
Hop,
He's not fully
AWB.
perfect, but he's definitely got the minerals to go up a level, because there's a ceiling always, isn't it, when you're that young and you already have this level of intensity. You know me, I hate my defenders passive, Rachel. I can't have the passive defenders. I need you to be aggressive. And that's another guy that we're linked with as well, Martinez. He's aggressive. I'm just, honestly, it hurts me when I watch passive defenders who are just like, oh. No, I want aggression. So what if you get a yellow card and get sent off? So what? Give it. I want you to play on the edge. And that's what this kid is. He's a brilliant crosser. He's created the most chances in the league. He's had the most shots as well in the area.
The most shots.
Yeah, the
That's
most shots.
interesting.
It's crazy. So, but he's created so many chances in that final team, but they had people who just miss it. But I just want to big up Ellen Oliver. The Ronaldo signing was a mistake from the beginning. Man United need to sign players for the future. Luka Samaka. Announcing people. Just sort it out, Man United. But Rachel, talk to me in terms of what you see. Because in 8 years, Luke Shaw, for me, the first year and a half were amazing. When he broke his leg, emotionally, we all had he had a lot of credit in the bank with us emotionally. And then Jose took the mick out of him. Then he had another thing where emotionally we were in the bank for him, like where we're thinking we don't like bullies, we are bullying somebody. But honestly, if you look at the games that he's missed, he is one of the most injury-prone players at Man United, and people forget about that. But go ahead.
So, yeah, no, I understand the frustration with Luke Shaw. Absolutely, it's frustrating that we've seen when he's played well how good he can be, but the problem is we're not seeing that enough. Like a lot of our players on our bloody squad, honestly, most of it is we can see the potential there, but they're just not performing enough. And Luke Shaw is one of those guys. Absolutely, I think he's harder to get rid of than say a Tellez. I think he sign a new contract at some point, or they're looking to give him a new contract. So I think, look, even if it's a thing where Malacia takes his spot as the first choice left back, then again it's positive because it means we're not going to see Luke Shaw as often, and when he does play, he's going to be fit. So, I think that I wish Malacia all the best. Honestly, I really do. I hope he does as well as what people expect him to. I can't comment too much about him because I haven't watched him. I'm not going to claim to have watched him. So, yeah, I don't have much to say on Malacia. All I can say is I hope he does well, and I look forward to seeing all the things that you see next season.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying to you. It's just under 20 million. For me, it was an incredible tap-in terms of transfer. I think Tom alluded to it, and Alice, before she left, alluded to it. It's low risk. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, to me, he looks like he's a hungry young player, and I just wish him all the best, and I welcome him to the club. I want to just quickly move on because the Ronaldo thing is going a bit crazy. But I wanted just to bring up, because there's a club that's not got a striker at the moment, and they happen to play in London, and they happen to wear blue. Would Ronaldo go?
We're talking about Chelsea.
I think they're the favourites. I think they're the favourites to get him if he does leave. I genuinely think that they will try very hard to get him, because that new owner they have, he's just whoring the club out to any player that seems to be going to any club at the moment. He wants a statement by the looks of it, and that would be quite a statement. I don't think their fans will be very happy about the signing, if I'm being very honest. I've got quite a few Chelsea friends. Obviously, they don't represent the whole fan base, but a lot of them don't really want him. But at the same time, they do need a striker. So you could,
short term, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
I think. Do you know what would be interesting? I tell you, if Tuchel takes Ronaldo off the pitch and brings on Havertz for him, that will be interesting. I'm just saying. I mean, what do you think is going to happen there? Do you think he's going to flip his shit? I don't know. Excuse my language.
He definitely will. No. Don't
apologise. He's done it before to managers.
It's a therapy channel, Rachel. You forgot where you are. Say whatever you want. It's all a part of therapy. Big up Khalees from Medina, chief editor, journalist of United Real Therapy. Big up to him. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Like. We've got over 80, 90 people in one time here. Please like, share. I know that this late thing was a late notice. I only put it up a couple of hours before I was like, oh, let's do a video. And then the Ronaldo story breaks. So glad to be live. Glad to be with the Therapy Army always. So we go, Ted Bowley met George Mendes to discuss Ronaldo's situation, the idea of him switching to Chelsea. There we go. Bayern Munich were also, but Bayern Munich, you know that the Bayern Munich straight away shut it down, innit? Shut down. They're like, nah.
They're not paying his wages.
And
Napoli, they won't want to do that.
Are Napoli in the Champions League, if I'm not mistaken? I think they might be, yeah.
They are, yeah.
Yeah. So Napoli, but that's him going back to Italy. But that's interesting. Where are they getting the money from to be able to afford his wages?
The owners are well financially backed. Yeah, Napoli do have a well financially backed ownership.
They're looking to sell Koulibaly as well.
Koulibaly
Chelsea are
as
interested in him.
Correct.
Yeah.
So and he'd be one of the higher wage earners, wouldn't he?
Listen, it's going to be very interesting. There we go. Ronaldo wants to leave Man United this summer. Still respects the club, the fans. In the later stages of his career, he wants to compete in the biggest prices. There we go. I think Simon Stone is even coming out with more. So it's all over now. It's all over the place that Ronnie wants to leave. And it's really interesting. I already know who gave him the story, who broke the story to Duncan Castles. It's George Mendes. Why? Because Duncan Castles is really close to Jose Mourinho. And when Mourinho was at the Duncan Castles was getting all of the info. And obviously, Mendes has been Mourinho's long-time flipping agent. So it's not that, people. When you've been watching, keeping an eye on who these journalists are, there's
not just love triangles. There's football triangles as well, you know. Exactly.
But anyway, listen, I want to move on to this. The De Jong, apparently De Jong deal is going to be finishing. It's going to be most likely be concluded with a new kit. I think the new kit's been postponed till next Friday.
Yeah,
so
I wonder why.
You know that kit, that photo with De Jong and Malacia on the new kit, wearing a new kit. You know it's going to happen before they fly out to Bangkok. I think it is for that first game against Liverpool. So Rachel, I'll go to Tom first, and I'll come back to Rachel because just letting the therapy. I mean, one of Rachel's favorite players currently playing in Europe and in the world is Frankie De Jong. So Rachel is going to give us a bit in-depth analysis of what she likes, what the attributes and what she likes about Frankie De Jong. And that is because that's the reason why I begged her today to come on the channel, because I want to get more insight into Frankie De Jong. But Tom, Martinez, apparently we're hijacking the Arsenal deal. I don't think Man United should offer any more money. I think we should work away from the deal if they don't accept, because it's not worth any more than £37 million for me. Where do you stand on that? And what do you think of the attributes of the player? Lisandro Martinez. By the way, if he signs, I can't wait to get back to OT and sing Argentina, Argentina, Argentina.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know what I'm talking about. Go ahead, Tom.
No, with the Martinez one, to be honest, I don't. In Ten Hag's mind, I don't think he was the player that he wanted initially. I think he wanted Timber. If I'm being real, I think Ten Hag wanted Timber, and then because of the whole Louis van Gaal sort of situation where he put him off in saying that if you join a football club and you're not playing week in, week out, and you're not performing to the highest of expectations, you won't be playing. I think it kind of got into Timber's head because of the World Cup coming up, and he, obviously when you're at that sort of young age and stuff, to play in a tournament even as young as you are, at I think he's 2021, to go and do that, I think's a big dream of any football player, just to even go to a World Cup. So to do that and then put the doubt into the player's mind, I think kind of put him off with the whole idea of it all. With the Martinez situation, I'm in the same boat personally. I wouldn't pay any more than probably 40 million. I think that's as high as I would go anyway. And even if we have to do it with add-ons and you try and build the strengthen the relationship between Ajax and stuff, because listen, we've already pinched the manager. We wanted to pinch the right winger in Anthony, and that move doesn't look like it's going to materialise because of the finances. The Timber one, well, it blew hot and cold, didn't it? And now it's obviously gone completely out of the water. The Martinez one, I think it's I think if we did get him, to be fair, I think it would be an ideal sort of signing, just based on the fact of the versatility of the player as well. Because the Ajax originally bought him as a left back from Argentina. They then played him as a left back for the first season, converted him to play CDM, and now he plays centre back, left-sided centre back in particular. And in doing so, his best form has come at left centre back. But who plays left centre back at Manchester United? Normally, anyway, when he's fully fit. Who's the captain? Who's got the armband? Who's got the 80 million price tag? Mr. Harry Beckenbauer, as Said called him. But I don't read too much into it anyway. But listen, like I've said many a times with it, if Ten Hag wants a player, I don't care the price. You get the player that he wants. Malacia was a player he wanted. You've gone and got him. You've gone and got one of Rachel's favourite players in Frankie de Jong. Go and get him. If that's who he wants, there's an open budget. You go and get the players that he wants and that he needs to re-emerge and resurface this team into the modern era. Because right now we're about 10 years behind every other football club. So get some modern day players in, get a project going, and let's go somewhere. And if that means that you've got to bring in Martinez, you go and do it.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Rachel. Let us know about Frankie de Jong. Why is he one of your favourite players to start with?
Do you know what? He is everything that we haven't had in midfield for a very long time. I'm honest. Like, I watched him a bit at Ajax, and I kept an eye on him. I was gutted that he went to Barcelona. Not that I thought we'd even go for him, but I just thought if he's going to Barcelona, then no one's getting him out of there, right? That's like the top. But obviously, I didn't realize how bad Barcelona's issues were, where they'd be forced to sell. But you know what it is? He's such an intelligent player. His passing range, his distribution ability is top level. He's a fantastic dribbler. He's very intelligent. So, like, I'll put it this way. He likes to pick up the ball from the defenders, right? Something he wasn't allowed to do at Barcelona because Busquets was there. But at United, that's what he's going to do. He's going to pick up the ball. You know, he's going to do a little body feint. He's going to break a press, and he's going to distribute the ball for us. And what he's very good at doing is that when he receives the ball, he will receive it and shift the ball to the opposite side to where a pressing player will go to tackle him. It's an instant break of a press because he commits a player towards him and sends him the wrong way, basically. And he's very consistent at doing it. It's not something he does, once every 5 games. He does it consistently throughout a game. And it's really important because we haven't had that. We haven't had someone who's consistently press resistant. And when you consider the intensity of the Premier League and how everyone's basically pressing, and teams love to press us because we were so bad at it. We struggled against Southampton. We were struggling against. You know
Norwich.
what I mean? Yeah, these are smaller teams that we should be dealing with. And then you've got a player who on his own can just break a press just because of his natural ability. And this is something that you're going to see. Even when he's having a bad game, he will still do that. That's a base level for Frankie de Jong. He'd have to have a calamity 1 out of 10 game to not be able to do it. Do you see what I mean? There are levels to this in terms of like how good he is on the ball. But there's also the fact that off the ball, he's a lot better than people give him credit for. He's actually quite intelligent at breaking up play. He's not like he's not the Makelele type that he's going to go and, destroy everything. But he's actually very intelligent. So he doesn't commit to tackles the way a lot of other players do. He actually shifts his body and he waits for the right moment to try and make a tackle. He's much more intelligent than your typical sort of, like, for example, with Fred and McTominay, sometimes they just rush in and they're reckless and they give away fouls when it's unneeded in dangerous areas. How many times have we seen that? Frankie de Jong doesn't do that. Do you know what I mean? So, like, he's good. He's not like the be-all and end-all in terms of CDMs, but he can also improve as well, right? And once he adapts to the Premier League, I think he'll be a great player for us.
You know what I see? I mean, you could say I'm wrong, but in terms of the way he glides with the ball, Kevin De Bruyne, like the way he glides with the ball, when he's on his flow, how he breaks the line, the ball's always really close to him. It's never far away from him. Definitely, I definitely have watched and seen him, especially that season when Ajax went to the semi-final of the Champions League. Like, how many times people try to press him because he was the main. He's the main source of like starting the patterns of the patterns of play. He's the one who's dictating that. The last player for me was Paul Scholes because Paul Scholes used to be able to spin on a sixpence. He used to be able to spin, and what was Paul Scholes not necessarily like protect the ball, but he would pass it off because he was so intelligent. He would get it. He would move to a position to get it back again, and by that time he's hit 30 yards, 40-yard pass. You know what I mean? So to me, I welcome that. I was sick of Pogba. Like, that's why I hated Pogba, because I think at times I thought he was doing it on purpose. he was literally had the blinkers on, like those horses, like blinkers, having blinkers literally on, where he can't really see. You know what I mean? His eyes are where teams were really targeting him when he was on the ball. Same with Matic. Even though Matic is slightly better because he uses arms and his physicality to try to push them off.
It's experience, isn't it, as well?
Yeah. Just a bit more experience. But Pogba used to just boom, one tackle, boom, we're rid on us. You know what I mean? So I'm glad to see a player of that caliber, especially like press resistant. I keep saying it, I keep screaming it till the end of the day, saying we need press resistant midfield players who cannot, because stop McTominay and Fred, you don't even have to press them. You just have to go boom, and they give you the ball. Take it off. It's like hot cake. Honestly, the ball's like some hot potato. Oh, take it.
Yeah, then they give it to David De Gea, and he just kicks out. And then it's like, okay, well, let's just give the team, the opposition team, the possession. That's what we do. That's why our possession scores weren't that great compared to other teams, even against lower table teams. That's what I'm saying. Luridan knows how much I've needed someone like that to come in. Honestly, it's 100%. Been painful. Been crying 100%. For years. Literally is.
I wanted to ask, just saying that your knowledge, and obviously your knowledge as well of Donny van der Beek, obviously even though we never got to see the best of Donny, we never got to see, because to me, you get 10 games to be able to judge. 10 games you're playing, because we already know like 4 games, it takes 4 games to get match fitness. Or whatever talks about match fitness. To get 90 minutes in your lungs, it takes 4 games. So 10 games I wanted to see Donny van der Beek. It's not like Fred and McTominay were the greatest midfielders that were keeping him out. That's to me what hurt me the most. It weren't like we had the best midfield players in the world, and Donny had to wait it out. So, Rachel, in terms of what do you think? Obviously, in the way the new system of Ten Hag, there's not going to be any passengers to be carried. I repeat, to the people at the back, there's going to be no passengers to be carried. This is not that type of manager. Trust me when I say that. Off the ball, if you're not reacting, you're coming off that pitch. He's telling you, get off the pitch. Get off the pitch. So, Rachel, knowing that, can you see him and Donny, and can you see Donny, Bruno, not in all in midfield, but can you see in a team where, especially at home, where Donny, Bruno, De Jong are in the starting lineup? Not necessarily midfield, but in the team.
Yeah, in the team, yeah. Because Danny's spoken about this a lot as well, if you know Devil in the Details.
Big up Danny, by the way.
Big up Danny. He said himself that when it comes to how players position on the pitch, it's not cut and dry. Like, players are all over the place. And I think that's really important, because I think there will be games where you could play Bruno or Donny in a wider position on paper, but they won't actually be wide on the pitch, right? So you can, there's a lot of interchange. He doesn't just like a fluid front line. He likes a fluid midfield. He likes a fluid defense. We've literally seen his defenders push up into midfield and even beyond the midfielders. So I think anything can happen.
Yeah, it's so weird at times. Like, we and Daddy talked about it, but at times when I watch it in the Champions League, I literally saw the one of the attacking midfield players in more of a defensive position with two centre halves behind him, like one holding midfielder and a centre half behind him, and then the fullbacks right up in the area. Someone like Timber inside the 10-yard area. Like, it's crazy. I can't stress this enough. He's the type of manager that our Old Trafford crowd are not going to say attack. No.
Yeah, they'll be like defend. That's what I'm saying.
Defend, because we're going to get hella countered, people. So we're going to be conceding goals because we're going to be countered on. Trust me. If he plays that the way that we think he plays, and definitely in terms of the shape, he never goes away really from 4-3-3. The players that he has play in a 4-3-3, but the formation he's not here for formation, people. He's not here. All he is, when you off the ball, press as a team. And in terms of the Dutch football, especially Ajax way, it's that majority of footballers on that pitch have to be able to cover for each other. You have to be able to cover for each other. In certain positions on that football, but you're going to play a higher line, we have to be able to cover for each other. And that's why I'm quite excited to see Martinez. I don't know how much you know about Martinez, Rachel. I don't know how much you watched of him. But for me, he's one of the best ball-playing centre-halves.
I think he is the best ball-playing centre-back in Europe. I'll say it from now. I think he makes a lot of mistakes,
He's
there's a few
aggressive.
things.
He wants to win it. He wants to win
Yeah,
it.
yeah, absolutely. He's
Yeah.
aggressive. He's fantastic 1v1. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen the videos that have come out on Twitter. There was one of Haaland. He did the
Yeah.
same thing to Nunes as well against Benfica. Like,
Yeah,
he's very
group
good.
stages. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very good 1v1 defender. Very good. The
I
way he
actually
does
watched
things is
those games.
unorthodox, though.
Yeah.
It's very
I
unorthodox.
watched those games. I literally watched. I watched all of the group stage, and I watched the knockout game against Benfica. And I was super impressed with him. Honestly, I was like, wow. And he's actually the player of the season last season.
Correct.
Yeah.
The player of the season. So, like, for me, I'll take him. I'll take him like that because he, like I said, I don't mind you making mistakes. Every defender makes mistakes. But I want you to make mistakes not being passive. I want you to make mistakes when I can see what you're trying to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want that. And I like that hot-headedness. That's Argentinians. Come on. If you know anything about Argentinian culture and football, they have hot heads. That's why we sing Argentina. Because England fans hate Man United. And they sing, if you hate Man U at Wembley. If you hate Man U, stand up. And we always sing for us. So that's why we get back at them. And we don't even consider ourselves being part of England anyway. This is the Republic of Mancunia. We're not part of England, people.
Can I just make a comment, actually, because Joseph Mackel made a good point. He said, but he's only playing in a lesser league. I agree with him. I think here's the thing, right, with next season, with Ten Hag, is that it's going to be a learning curve for him as well. Don't get me wrong. He'll do all his research. He's a complete football nerd. He'll do all his research. He'll have it in his head, in theory, how he should set up in terms of balancing what he wants to do and how he should do things in the Premier League. I've said before, I think there's going to be a lot of 4-3s next season, and it just remains to be seen whether we're going to be on the good side of it. I really do. I think it's going to be very much like that. It's going to be a very interesting season. That's all I'm going to say with that one.
100%, Rachel, and I need that. But Tom, going back to you, Donny van der Beek, I personally think, you spoke to this before about this squad, about trust, about Ten Hag trying to get in players he trusts, and having 4 or 5 players that he has coached that know his system, right? How important would that be to the development of the other players to get in the system, to understanding the system? Do you think it would speed up the process?
Absolutely, I think it'll speed up the process. But I also think Donny van der Beek's had the best of both worlds, really. He's had the highs of the Erik Ten Hag regime, and then he's had the lows of the Man United regime, where he's seen in the last 2 years with Manchester United what it is like in that dressing room. In that project, the old project, with the old players, with the old mentality. And what did they win? They win zilch. Now it's something fresh, it's something new. I wouldn't be surprised if Donny van der Beek's one of the players that Erik Ten Hag has spoke to and said, so what was it like in the old dressing room then? Under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, under Ralf Ragnick? What was it like? What was the dressing room like? Who were the players that were giving it some? That were actually wanting to fight for the badge, even when there was nothing to play for? Who actually wanted to do things? But you know the one thing that I looked at straight away when I saw some of these training videos with Erik Ten Hag? I'm not seeing a lot of coaching with the more experienced players, the more experienced midfielders. He's leaving that for such as Steve McLaren and Michel van der Gaag. He's leaving his assistants to go and work on those sort of players. The main part of his training philosophy is young players. And the young players, some of the young players that I'm seeing, he's looking at these young players, the likes of your Charlie Savage, for example, the likes of your Amad Diallo's and stuff, putting a lot of our younger players together and saying, right, what can I work with here? Because he's used that philosophy at Ajax. That's where 2 of his brilliant academy graduates, in Donny van der Beek and Frank de Jong, actually came through. We've also got players like Jimmy Garner to use as well. And going back to the same point where we said about with the coaching at the football club and stuff, it's not been up to scratch. It's been absolutely abysmal. And if you bring in players like Frank de Jong, you bring in players like Martinez, for example, who know the system, who know the style, that's only going to help players who are already here. Because if they don't work up the standards, you ain't making it, you ain't cutting it. But Lisandro Martinez, for me, I think one of the biggest mistakes we did in the last 5-6 years was let Daley Blind go. Daley Blind, for me, was a stable player. Even if his attributes weren't the greatest in the world, he was a stable player.
Oh, Tom, I loved him. One of the most technically gifted
players.
Can play
And you know what? I
centre
see
half.
so many similarities with him and Martinez. So many similarities.
Can
But
play
like Rich
centre
just
half.
said, centre
Can play
half, yeah.
centre half.
Martinez
Left
is
back.
much more aggressive than Daley
Centre
Blind, though.
midfield. Yeah, he's more aggressive.
Yeah, he's more
Yeah,
aggressive. Yeah, he's
definitely.
more
And
aggressive. Yeah.
Daley Blind did get bullied. Like I love Daley Blind as well.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
wish we played him as a defensive midfielder, alongside someone who could
Yeah, like,
complement
well, we
him
had
rather than playing
Schweinsteiger
at
on
the
that at
back.
the time, didn't we? Schneiderlin and that as well.
Yeah, but I think it's a weird one, right? Like Daley Blind, technically speaking, was a very good player, but I think again, the way he was at the back, I think is overstated. I think we have to remember that we had
That
players.
season, I'm only
Felicia.
talking about one
Big up
season. I'm
Felicia.
talking about one season.
Mm.
When him and Smalling were at the back, I thought they were looked. That season, if you look at how the goals that we conceded and how those two partnerships, how he stepped in and Smalling, that's one of Smalling's best seasons, and that's why Van Gaal kept saying Michael Smalling.
Mike Smalling. Yeah, I remember that. That was
Can I
that
just
was
get
funny.
the super chat? Can I big up saying Miasi says that I'm diverting my super chat budget to buy out Ronaldo's contract and get him to Arsenal.
Zayd's probably got a share in Arsenal. That's what it is.
I'm telling you now, Miasi, there are YouTubers right now, all their heads are exploding. No! You've been helping to keep the lights on. You've been helping to keep the lights on, Zayn. I'm telling you, people, YouTubers, including me, I'm like, no! But anyway, Zayn, the only thing I would say, dream on. Keep dreaming. It might happen, you never know. But not in this lifetime, and not in this universe. Maybe another parallel universe. By the way, people, I just want to add, Arsenal were so close. Arsenal and Liverpool were very close to signing Ronaldo. Really, Liverpool and Arsenal agreed in principle. And Liverpool were promised. And actually, what's his name? But Pinocchio, Phil Thompson.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, gosh, that guy.
In a La Tournoi. Remember that youth championship in France? He went to watch him and he was in the stands. So it could have been in another parallel universe. Ronaldo was really close, but you know what?
Wasn't close enough.
No cigar. No cigar. Good night, Vienna, on that one. Go ahead, Rachel. You're making a point about Blind.
Oh.
You were saying about how that he was overstated a bit at the back, but in midfield, I thought he was brilliant. In midfield,
Yeah, no, I agree. I wish he had more games in midfield. I think he was underutilized in that respect. But I think a lot of people have it in their head that we should never have gotten rid of him, but he still should have played at the back, which is for me was the wrong way to look at it. I think Daley Blind, if he was staying, should have played in midfield because we were screaming for a midfielder that was competent on the ball. We've been screaming for that for a while. He would have been great for that. But at the back, I thought he was weak. I thought he was suspect. He had some very good games, don't get me wrong, a lot of good individual performances here and there, but I think overall, I would judge him as not that great at the back, if I'm being honest with you.
No. Listen, I don't think you're wrong. I genuinely don't think you're wrong. But I actually think that at that time, when we defended and we protected him, he looked really good because he was so good on the ball. And so many of those through balls, he started off our attacks. I just liked him because you cannot like a player who's so cultured, who's so easy on the ball. Some of the things that he does, he makes effortless. Like, are you telling me in that midfield we're not balling if Daley Blind's there instead of Brendan McTominay? Oh my!
Oh no, I
It was just the slickness.
Yeah.
Slickness with the passing.
You
You guys are gonna love Frankie then. You're gonna love him.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Of course. 100%. Listen, what I watched of Frankie, I've not watched Barcelona since they've been in the spot of trouble, but I watched him for Ajax that season, and I'm telling you, it was him and Donny van de Beek, that combination where they understood one can go, one stays.
Yes.
And that's the thing about everything. Positional, intelligence, positioning, understanding what's happening in the game, and the way they moved around the pitch was brilliant. So 100%, that season for me is where I watched him the most, and I was blown away by it. How effortless he makes it. How he literally rolls people. It's kind of a throwback the way he rolls people. You know what I mean? Like, they try to go and press him. He tends to go this way, step that. He's got beautiful balance. Like I say, to like De Bruyne, it reminds me of a De Bruyne, the way he can
Center of gravity.
Yeah. You know how easy, effortless he is when they're on the ball. It's like you just see other players, and other players look so clunky. You know what I mean? When they try to run with the ball, when they try to break the lines. So definitely.
Yeah, he just glides. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. He glides, and that's one of the things I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna love and like. You know what? It's been an hour and 5 minutes. I'm gonna get your last comments before we say goodbye, Therapy Army. But please smash a like on the video. Alicia, lovely to see you. We have missed you. You asked for Alice. Alice was here. She was here for half an hour, but she was here. So big up to Alicia. Giving me 5 margins FC, you know what I mean? Coming out. She likes my scarf. It's a little bandana bike hoodie when I'm on the bike, so I don't get too much traffic, you know what I mean? The fumes in my face. So that's what that is. This is the Lost Poets, if those of you who know, the original hip-hoppers, you know, before they were the Last Poets. That's the Last Poets t-shirt, if any of you's wondering. So check it out, the Last Poets. Brilliant guys. And actually one of them is my namesake, but he recently passed away a couple of years back. I actually met him though. I met him probably about 4 years ago. I met him. My namesake. So rest in peace. One of the Last Poets. Brilliant poet. Brilliant. So there you go. Bit of musical history, bit of context there for you people. But yeah, if Ten Hag gets the players that he wants, Tom, what kind of a season do you think you envisage?
Progressive season, I guess. I want us to be competitive in the league, personally. European football, I don't think should interest anybody because I'd never rated Europa League or Conference League. I didn't understand why the Conference League was made, to be honest. Only to add more inclusiveness and competition into European football. But in saying that, Man United is not associated with those competitions. Man United is European elite and English elite. And they are the only two things that mean the most to Manchester United, is heritage and the heritage behind those competitions. And it would be scandalous if Manchester United were to massively, you have an open bus tour for winning the Europa League or winning the Conference League. It's just not in our nature. And with the players that Ten Hag wants to bring in, like I've said, if he wants a certain profile of player, you pay the money to get the players that he needs. And these are what I call needs. There's needs and wants in football clubs. He can want a player. He can want Cristiano Ronaldo to stay. But he needs Frankie de Jong to change his system and the way that he controls the midfield in the Premier League. He needs Tyrell Malacia to help boost the left-hand flank and potentially give Luke Shaw the kick up the arse. These are players that he needs. He needs Christian Eriksen to add competition for players, if that's the player that he wants, that badly or that necessitatively. And Lisandro Martinez won, well, listen, he can play CDM, he can play centre-back, he can play left-back. If I'm any players in any of those positions, in any probably defensive position, I'm looking at this and thinking, right, well, if he can play in 3 positions, I can only play 1. I've got to get me out, I've got to pull my finger out, and I've got to actually get a sweat on. And like I say, these pre-season tour, because we're already hearing about the squad's adapting to his training methods and the regime that he's putting in place. That's all well and good. Get on that pre-season tour, get on that plane to Bangkok, all over Asia, and we'll see who's left remaining. Because I guarantee you now, there will be very few players. There'll be a couple of players who'll be on the plane straight back to Manchester or going elsewhere. There'll be at Bangkok airport departures straight away. There'll be a couple of arrivals maybe there at Bangkok, but that'll be about it. There'll be a lot more departures going out the way.
Yeah, you know what? 100%. 100%. Rachel, what do you think to that? What kind of season are we having? You already alluded to it a little bit before one of your answers where you said a lot of 4-3s. A lot of games where it's going to be a helter-skelter. And we like rock and roll football, innit? We like that. That's Fergie for me. That brings back Fergie because Fergie would rather win 4-3 than lose 1-0 or, you know what I mean, or lose 2-1. Do you know what I mean? Or win 2-1. Fergie was all about that as well. But what kind of season, if he gets the signings that he needs? To me, this Eriksen thing, I don't know. I don't think he's going to come out. I think he might not come because he wants to play football. Obviously, what happened to him in the tragedy, what happened in the summer, and I'm so glad that, you know what I mean, he literally died on a football pitch, and I'm so happy for him to be alive because I'm always watching these games when these players collapse. Mark Vivian Foe, you know what I mean? The other brother, Lawumba, who collapsed at Spurs. I remember watching that game. And then
yeah.
Yeah, and then watching Ericsson. So Luamba and Ericsson survived, and Ericsson can actually play. It actually also happened to Blind as well. It happened
Twice.
to
It's happened to Blind
well.
twice. Yeah.
Yeah. So Eric is their seed off. The man of the moment. My
I love
baller.
Seedle.
My baller. He wants me to feed him, so I'm going to do that. But Rachel, what kind of season are we having if he gets the players? And do you think we can get Ericsson?
So on the Ericsson thing, I've got mixed feelings on Ericsson. So it was reported that we want 2 central midfielders, right? If Ericsson's part of that 2 and not a bonus signing, I'm not particularly happy about it because I want someone who will partner Frankie de Jong, ideally. I know people are saying Donny, but I think there are some issues there in terms of the Premier League. It's very different to the Eredivisie, so there's that. I think for next season, I think Ten Hag will make some mistakes, and that's natural because he's coming to the Premier League. I think people need to be very patient. I think he will experiment with a few things. I think he'll even try a back 3 at some point, especially because we haven't got someone next to De Jong. If we're not getting the second central midfielder next to him, I think he could experiment with the back 3. Lisandro Martinez could step into midfield in build-up play. We've seen him do that before. We know he's good on the ball. I just think I don't want to make these predictions about where we will finish or what we'll go for because it's too difficult at the moment.
And that's why I didn't ask for a position. I just said what kind of a season.
I just think it will just be a very up and down season, but I think it will end positively. Whether that's winning a smaller trophy, I don't think we're going to win the Premier League. Maybe the Europa League. Like, I know people don't like the Europa League. I get it. Trust me, I do. But I think someone said in the comments that it is a route into the Champions League. And considering how much Tottenham have strengthened, Chelsea are a threat, Liverpool and City are far beyond any of us teams that are fighting for 4th. I think it is an option. Like Jose Mourinho said it himself, like any means necessary. And winning a trophy, you'd rather win the Europa League and get Champions League than just to finish top 4, right? So I think for us, it's a genuine option to go to try and win the Europa League, in my opinion. So
there you go. Right, people. Say Miasi's back. Thank you, Rachel. Don't forget, we nearly signed him in 2013 in time to correct the historic mistake. History is about to be made. Also, De Jong is off.
According to who?
According to this here, Barcelona, John Laporte, Frankie De Jong. There are clubs that want him, not just Man UFC. We have no intention of selling him if he wants to stay. Well, I'm just saying, Barcelona are in debt. They need the money. All this is poker talk to me. I'm not hearing anything other than poker talk. So you can say
Chelsea were linked with Frankie De Jong yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's all money. It's all money orientated.
Exactly. Yeah. Laporta. This is all. This is. He's playing what is known as poker.
You know what? It's like our fan base have gotten a bit hysterical in the last few days in terms of they seem to take everything at face value.
Exactly.
The thing is, like the Frankie De Jong thing, I think it was wrapped up a while ago. I think they're just waiting to announce it on both sides. And I think that Barcelona will use anything to try and get a bit more money out of it, even if it means making up this thing about Chelsea being interested.
Exactly.
Because the thing is, right, when the deal was just speculation, why did no other team go for him then? Why would they wait until United had basically had it wrapped up? It doesn't make any sense, does it? Because he's a very good player and he would improve Chelsea. He'd even improve City. Like, let's be honest.
And look at the language here. This is the most telling language. This of all the quotes, this is the most quote I'm interested in.
Salary issue.
I'm going to do everything I can in my power. Let me repeat for the people at the back. I'm going to do everything I can in my power. What does that mean, Rachel? There are times where he can't do anything without his power because he can't do it.
It's not that. He also acknowledges there's a salary issue.
Of course.
Young is on quite high wages.
Of course. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they owe him money. Do they still owe him money? They still owe him money.
Yeah.
They've not been paying their players.
Wages,
But it's a football club that's not been able to meet. Can you imagine, people, just for the United fans, not being able to meet the basic demands of paying wages of footballers, like deferring a lot of wages. So now he's saying, in my power. There you go, people. If you want any quote, it is. In my power. It's above you, Laporta. La Liga, with their new financial rules, are telling you, you are not making the wages make sense. if you already signed players like Kessie and a couple of other players, you can't even register them properly. So what you want about, man? And then you want to go and get Lewandowski? Nah.
I mean, this is coming from like last summer where they had to get rid of their greatest ever player.
Exactly.
I mean, do you know what I mean? Like, as Danny says, they're an irresponsible football club. At the end of the day, they were paying Messi $1 million a week. They were paying Griezmann 800K a week. I mean, it's shocking. It really is shocking what they're doing at that football club. So yeah, they need to get rid of De Jong, 100%.
Exactly. There you go. Anyway, Tom has left. Thank you, Tom. Make sure you check him out, Tom Football One, on Twitter. Rachel, thank you so much. Lovely to see you. Wishing you well with the exams and the studies. I can't wait for you to finish. So we can chop it up. We can chop it up in the spaces on YouTube or wherever else. Lots of love to you. I hope the dog as well. I hope the family as well. Love always
thank you.
your football opinion. And I'd like to thank also Alice for coming on, making a debut at United Real Therapy. I will be on Alice Talks Football sometime next week. So keep an eye on that. Big up Alicia. Big up the Therapy Army. Thank you to Khalees Ramadan Lassie for always being there. There's over 100 of you here watching. Please, on your way out, it costs you absolutely nothing. Smash a like on the video. Smash a like on the video. Welcome to Manchester United, Tyrell Malacia. You are one of the players that I said Man United should get. I watched 4 games, not just clips on YouTube, 4 games. And it wasn't in the area division, it was in the Europa Conference. I know the caliber of teams are not that great, but still, he shone. In none of those 4 games, he showed me enough to be able to tell me this kid has got a high ceiling to get better with one-to-one coaching and defensive discipline and positioning. So I'm excited. In terms of going forward, intensity, power, aggression. You know how I like my Defenders Therapy Army. I love them strong. None of this passive business. I can't take it anymore. We're getting, hopefully, if we get Martinez over the line, we're getting 2 guys who are you know what they are? Non-nonsense. They are nonsense. They don't take any nonsense, people. So I'm happy for that. But again, big up Rachel. We always say to sign out, win, lose, draw. Sign player, don't sign players. Bankers out, Glazers out. That's how we keep it 100 here, people. We keep it 100% here.
You need to bring on Bile.
Glazers out. Say that again?
You need to bring on Bile.
Oh, definitely needs to come on. Oh, man. There might be a meltdown in the comments. He will get the most.
Oh, yeah.
He will get it in most. Therapy Army, don't mess about. Big up, man. Love and light, people. Thank you so much. Enjoy your Saturday evening. Peace, love, light. Take care, people.
Big up.
He's an